Okay, I think we can get going. Well, welcome everybody. So many faces I don't recognize. And thanks to the four of you that I really don't recognize. So I'm going to start off with a nice somber note, a quote from Benjamin Franklin. He said, "In this world, nothing can be said to be certain except for death and taxes." But I think he is actually wrong. So when he said this, it was about 1790. And that was the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. So with the Industrial Revolution, a few things started happening. So two certainties was that the population started growing much faster than it had ever grown before, and then people started moving to urban centers with the prospect of work and prospect of a better life. So if you just have a look at population growth, it's probably expected to grow at a little over 1% and get to about 10 billion of us in the year 2056. And then in terms of urbanization, if we just look back to 1950, about 2/3 of the world's population lived in rural areas. Today, it's about 50-50. And then in the year 2050, when we're approaching 10 billion of us, about 2/3 of the world's population is actually going to be urbanized, living in urban centers. So, you know, what does this mean for us? And this is the other certainty that's happened. It means that since the Industrial Revolution, supply chains have been getting increasingly complex. So a few things have happened. They've got longer because of globalization. They've got faster with the advent of things like just-in-time replenishment methods. They've certainly got more fragmented because consumers are demanding more choice. This is all happening through busier roads. There's more channels than we've ever heard of before. So my colleague over there is going to be talking about all the new channels. We've got traditional retail, modern retail, online retail. We're hearing about omni-channel taking place. And then we also see a whole lot of disruptions taking place in the supply chain thanks to emerging technologies. So if you have a look first at transport, who would have thought funny flying drones would be delivering things to people? And that's a reality today. The other thing we see happening is that we see real-world sensing technologies proliferating across the supply chain. That, coupled with big data analytics software, is making this Internet of Things a reality. So these are all the things happening within the supply chain. But there's another movement taking place. And that's really, as the populations grow, as supply chains are getting more complex, we're putting an increasing impact on our planet. So there's a rising environmental impact and demand on the planet. Now, this isn't a crazy bunch of tree huggers making up a good story. This is a fact. We only need to look at three large organizations, hopefully we should all be familiar with. Unilever, Coca-Cola, and then our very own Tiger Brands. So Unilever, in 2010, they launched their Sustainable Living Plan. And Paul Polman, he said, when they launched that, he said, "There's not business as usual anymore. Sustainable, equitable growth is the only business model, and Unilever's strategic vision is to double the size of the business and at the same time reduce the environmental footprint." So Bea Perez from Coca-Cola, the Chief Sustainability Officer at Coca-Cola, said, "We believe the majority of innovation over the next decade will happen at the intersection of sustainability and the supply chain." And then when we come to home, if we look at Tiger Brands, they're saying their desire to contribute to a more sustainable world requires understanding, collaboration, and action at many levels by governments, companies, brands, and customers. The drive also comes from consumers themselves who want to understand the environmental impacts of their choices. So this is a real thing that's happening. So for us as supply chain practitioners, what's happening? There's a strain on our organization really to achieve three things. We need to try to be efficient in order to be able to manage costs and make money. We need to be agile in order to be able to satisfy our customers' demands. But now there's this third challenge of being sustainable. We need to be able to do all of those things and still preserve the natural resources of our world. So what is the future going to demand of us? So a few things. You know, the future of supply chain is going to demand that we look for ways to standardize. It's going to demand that we look for more ways to automate, mechanize, and probably most importantly, how do we innovate in order to meet that triple challenge of efficiency, agility, and sustainability. So I think this realization for CHEP was quite an important one. You see there, just a blue pallet company is not enough. This was our realization because our customers weren't, or we wanted to grow our business, and customers were looking for more value from us, but they weren't looking for more blue pallets, right? what they were looking for is they were looking for solutions to the challenges in their supply chains. So we had to make a change, just like supply chains did. And we did a couple things. So the first change we did is we created these groups of cross-functional teams with a mix of skills. So we had Lean and Six Sigma experts together with industrial engineers. We had a whole lot of innovative and creative types to look and frame solutions in different ways and approach problems in different ways. We backed that up with folks with strong financial and commercial acumen to get the numbers to come right. And then we got some sales folks to help support and get those messages out into the market. The other bit is really this thing we call it the insider's eye. So as our pallets and containers flow through the supply chain of the world, our customers share and reuse them, and it kind of gives us a different perspective on the supply chain, and that's that insider's eye. So if you think about a pallet, it touches every aspect and nuance of the supply chain. It goes through receiving areas, dispatch areas, it sits in storage, it goes through automated storage and retrieval systems, it touches the product all over the show. And with that, if we could ask that pallet to tell us a story, it would tell us quite a special story and give us a whole lot of insights. So insights about efficiencies and insights about mistakes of supply chains around the world. So what we've tried to do is gather the learnings and those insights and use the cross-functional teams in order to be able to turn those insights into solutions for our customers to solve the problems that they're experiencing. So we're launching a whole lot of new solutions here at SAPICS. Please come take a look at our stand. We can tell you all about them. But I'll talk about 3 new things that we've jointly worked with our customers on to deliver for them. So the first one is this solution we call value chain analysis. So value chain analysis is really a holistic view of the supply chain. It's looking at the whole supply chain from end to end, us having a deep insight into what's working well, what's not working well, and most importantly, how do we understand what the pain points are in that particular environment so that we can intervene with some sort of remedies in order to be able to unlock value for our customers. So just like we've had our customers share and reuse our different pallets and containers as they move through the supply chains, we want our people to be able to share and reuse the knowledge that they gain from the different supply chains we serve across the world. So automotive, FMCG, beverages, we want to be able to get that knowledge, share them with our customers, and be able to unlock value from them using this sort of solution. The next solution I'll speak about is one of product load optimization. So yeah, we provide a lot of pallets to customers, but they're using the pallet in order to be able to create a product load. And what we look at here is, I guess simply put, how do you put more stuff onto the pallet? We go through a 3-stage process. We use software analysis. We then, to be able to see what the optimal unit load is. We then take it into a lab to do testing to see how does that unit load perform from a product damage and a safety perspective. And then we do real-world field trials in order to be able to see that value can be realized in real life. So what we try to do here is really, if we can optimize the product load, we try to make sure that less product is lost due to damage and that there's lower platform and handling costs and even lower costs associated with the actual platforms themselves. So the last solution is that of truck load optimization, and we apply the same principles as we do with product load optimization. Now, truck load optimization is one of our transportation solutions, along with delivery, collection, and collaborative transport. So when we follow these same principles, we're essentially looking for a few things. How do we get fuel costs to go down? How do we get CO2 to go down? And then simultaneously, how do we get savings to go up? So what are we talking about here? I mean, essentially what we're talking about is time is money in the supply chain. And you know what we're looking for is efficiencies, which we've probably been looking for since the time of the Industrial Revolution. They're not new things. They're a few basic things. Things like faster inventory turns in order to be able to reduce working capital, faster pick rates in order to make more efficient use of labor, faster truck turnaround time to reduce the dead time on vehicles, and then less time spent handling product means less damage to the product, less waste within the supply chain. So these are the efficiencies we're trying to unlock. But remember, there's the third challenge of sustainability. And often a green decision means a compromise of some sort, be it on product quality, be it on speed through the supply chain, or be it on profits itself. However, if you think of the efficiencies and agility that we're trying to drive, it's no longer a calculated compromise, the sustainability thing. Solving these sorts of problems is actually, the sustainability agenda is a direct consequence of actually overcoming those problems. So if we go back to death and taxes being the certainty, I think there's a few other certainties that we can talk about. So the top of which is that as populations continue to grow and urbanize, the supply chain is going to continue to change. So what are we looking for? We're looking for eliminating waste, finding new efficiencies, optimizing processes, accelerating flows, lowering costs, improving sales, improving things like worker safety, and at the same time, reducing the overall environmental impact as well. So these are the kind of hurdles that we need to look for solutions for in order to be able to these are the hurdles we need to overcome with our solutions. So for CHEP, what we want to do is we want to facilitate the world's ability to trade efficiently and sustainably by simply optimizing the flow of goods through the supply chain. So this is the supply chain, and hopefully the 5 of us that are not from CHEP here together, hopefully we can make this happen. So thanks. Any questions from anybody?